Hello YouTube. I have a 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 Dodge Avenger, and I'm going to change the oil. One of the new things that I learned, I haven't changed the oil on a newer vehicle for quite some time, is there's a couple of changes they made for the oil filter. First of all, it's on top and it's under this panel right here. It's that little cap right there is the new oil filter, and I'll show you how to get to that. Okay. Took me a little while to figure all this stuff out. It's a little bit newer and a little bit different than a regular old school pickup or something that I'm used to. I called Chrysler. They said their basic oil that they use is a Chrysler runoff from Valvoline oil. So I stuck with the semi-synthetic. I'll show you. Semi-synthetic Valvoline. And it'll be, this is what I'm using. The Valvoline Max Life 530 is the standard recommended oil for a Dodge Avenger 3.6 V6. If you have the 4-cylinder, they recommend the 520, not the 530. It will take 6 quarts. You'll see it says 5.1. That's 1/10 of a quart. It's not really anywhere close to a quart. So you will have to use a whole entire 6 quarts. I used a 5.1 and a 1 quart, and it takes all of it. Okay. Come back out here to the car. One of the nice things is that the filter that you've seen is up on top of the engine. You could do two things. You could pull this cap, which I showed you in the beginning, or give you a little more room. This whole cover pops off with snap pins, and it's pretty easy to put back, and you can just take the whole cover off. Now that you have room to move your around in here, one of the things you'll notice is the cap has a socket head. Do not use a crescent wrench. This cap is plastic and it will strip. 15/16 socket fits perfect on this. I was surprised to find that standard sockets fits this engine perfect. This cap is a 15/16, fits perfect on there. When you take the cap off, which I've done all this, so I'm going to show you. This is what your new oil filter will look like. When you get it, it's going to have these little prongs. They snap into the cap when you take the oil cap off and take the old filter out. It snaps right into the cap. So it'll be up like this. And when you turn it and put it down into the engine, it'll screw in. The oil filter will come with a new O-ring. Use the new one. I recommend using the new one. Pretty easy to swap out the oil filter. Once again, it is plastic, so when you snug this down, you don't have to snug it very hard at all. Just barely put it in. It does have an oil ring. It won't leak. Just barely snug it with your socket. You won't be able to turn it by hand, but make sure you use a socket. A crescent wrench will strip this. It's just plastic. On the bottom, drain plug. Everybody knows there's a drain plug down there. Drain plug is a standard 1/2-inch socket on the Pentastar 3.6. I tried a metrics, and the metrics were slightly loose, so I tried a 1/2-inch. Went perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I was surprised to see once again that they were standard sockets. It's not too hard. Getting into the car was a challenge for me, so I had to put 2x6s and make little ramp extensions for my ramps. Basically that's it. The other thing that you have to do now, one thing I learned about this car, and I'm assuming all the newer vehicles are the same way, is I was always under the impression that your check oil light was based off of your mileage. It is not. It actually has a sensor that detects the particles in the oil, from what I understand, and it knows when the oil is dirty based off of the particle formations in the oil itself. So you could do two things. To reset your oil light, if you start the car, the oil light may still come on. Change oil. Okay, you could do two things here. You can either drive the car around and it will reset by itself, because like I said, it actually picks up the oil particles in the car, and it can determine, the computer can determine that it doesn't need the oil change any longer. Or what most people want to do is reset their car right away. You simply turn the car off, turn it all the way to on, do not start it, push the fuel pedal 3 times, turn the car all the way back off. Let it sit for a second. That should have done it. No oil light came on. The oil light is reset. It will do it by itself, but it'll take a few miles for it to reset, and you may have to drive it around for it to realize that you changed the oil, or you could just do it like I just showed you. You want to turn the car key all the way to start, but do not start the car. Press the fuel pedal 3 times all the way to the floor, and then shut it back off. And that's how you reset the oil light. Now to put the cover back on, you turn it the right direction, line up your oil filler, make sure your head's on straight, and it should snap right back in, and you are done. That's it. Thanks for watching.